I don't think opera is boring. I think opera is actually pretty cool. For me, opera was never like a dusty old art form, but a couple of productions throughout the theaters in the world, they're a bit dusty, and there's, for a lot of people, there is a sort of they don't go easily to an opera house because they think, I need to wear a jacket or even a smoking, and I need to drink only a glass of white wine. So we wanted to bring opera back to where it belonged. Verdi, he has wrote his opera for the people in the street. He didn't write it for the elite. Basically, he said, if someone playing the organ in my little town can play these melodies, then I took the right melodies. So when we started to think about what shall we do to make the opera more accessible to normal people, and then we said, you have to then do it in an arena where it's a temple of entertainment. There's sports here, and there's rock concerts, and there is also an opera here. And that in that sense, we already by choosing the venue, we tell people that it's for normal people, it's for everyone.
Opera, it's still the stories we are telling here. AIDA, it's a beautiful love story, and so it's topics which touches the hearts of everybody actually, and so the chance to bring it there with that and that way we are doing it to a wider field of people. I think the idea is brilliant, and maybe it helps. And the music, it's still beautiful.
It's a good opera to start with, and it's an opera that is very accessible. But there were a lot of challenges, actually. Opera is just a big art form, and there's a lot of people involved. We're traveling with 250 people, so AIDA is definitely a challenge, but I think we managed quite well.
It was a process. We started that all departments have been separated, and then finally met on one table and starting developing the entire show, how we're going to get a crew together and get it in the right time frame. I'm Benjamin Hartmann from Feedback. I'm currently taking care about all arena on-off shows and touring. We're traveling with 14 trucks right now, 6 trucks for Technik, and then the rest is sets and decoration and orchestra stuff. It's basically one shift, everything has to be in the air. We have so many dependencies, the order has to be in place, otherwise we are not going to set up this production in time. We start with lighting and rigging, and later on we're starting with audio, and then the temples take place. The temple itself have only a time slot of 3 hours. That's the frame where they have to set up the entire temple, and during the same time the steel is going to be set up on the field. And then they meet together in the final position after 4 hours. Then we start with the local setup, with the staging, with the covering. After 12 hours, the entire production is in place, and then we can start with rehearsing, and we can start with tuning the PA, tuning lights, tuning visuals. So there's a lot of things in order. And if one spot in one department was crashing, then everything after this is going to be delayed. So there was one major aspect, taking care that we are going to do it in time.
You have it? It's actually really cool, isn't it? That's the River Nile. The River Nile floats as a 800 square meter blue cloth over the heads of the people sitting in the auditorium. And it's so simple. It's like old-fashioned theater. And I think that is the clue to what we're doing. We're doing a lot of high tech. You know, there's video involved, there's a lot of lighting, there's a lot of sound. But there's also like very old-fashioned theater techniques that still work and people love to see it. You know, tearing 800 square meters of blue cloth over the audience is definitely a highlight and definitely something that I call an immersive experience. And there's immersive exhibitions, there's immersive concerts, but an immersive opera is something that I think that I would want to go to. I would want to sit in the auditorium and be surrounded by soldiers and priests. You'll be part of the opera, and I think that is something that the world's been waiting for.
Il sacro suolo leggito il vaso dai barbari Etiopi. I nostri campi fur devastati, arselle messi e baldi della facile vittoria e predatori.
In this opera, it's very unique that you used to have CCTV and intercom. It's an enormous setup what we're gonna do here. So CCTV is used for the director of the orchestra because the soloists and the choirs who are running around this field has to be in time, has to be in the right spot of the song. So they have to follow the coordination of the director. Also, the dancers who are running around, they all have to be in queue. We have them running all over the arena. And this needs to be controlled by the stage manager, and he's doing his job on the caller rack, that's what we call it. And this has to be seen and listened across the entire arena. So that's very unique here in this size, arena size production.
When the audience see the AIDA, they only see what's happening in front of stage. But at the same time, when they hear voices, they're not just in front of stage. They're within the public audience. They are like on the ranks, on the stairs, and as well they're behind the stage. So the CCTV is very important for this piece to make sure the conductor is going to be seen everywhere around the venue. So for this reason, we have 2 cameras in front of the conductor, and we have in total 18 different TVs set up all around the area to make the conductor seen with low latency everywhere. Because at the end of the day, we need to make sure that the cast is possible to perform the best as they can within a 4 times, 6 times, 8 times bigger environment as they used to. Unfortunately, I never have seen the show from the front of house because I'm working behind the scene. But at the same time, it's quite impressive to see what's happening behind the scene. People singing here, running around, all the preparation for the fire, the fireworks. It's exciting because it's my job. I used to be a dancer on stage when I was a child, and now I'm behind the scene, so I can feel what's happening and I'm involved. That's my immersive experience here.
Hi, my name is Kjell Rijntjes. I'm the disguise operator on this AIDA tour, and I operate the video system, what you see in the back. We use the Disguise-Medienserversystem as we have a very reliable playout system, and we're very fast in mapping the temple in every city that we are, because projector positions change and whatnot, so we need to be very, very quick in mapping and setting it up. One of the challenges here is that we have these hieroglyphs on the temple that needs to be adjusted every day, what I said, the fast mapping. So I made a special map for this one that I can now, with my laptop from the stage, move them to their right position. So what we're doing now is actually the virtual lineup. In Disguise, a projector works like a camera, and what I tell him, in my 3D world, this point is over there, and I put it on the right spot in the real world. And with this data that the server gains, he has an algorithm to calculate how much tilt or roll or pan my projector is, how big my lens size is, and actually makes a lot of calculation works for me that I would have to do myself otherwise. And as we don't have that much time, we're trying to be quick, so it's always helpful when these calculations be done for us. We cannot tell the full story because it's too long for a short evening And so we cut out parts that we replace with animations to explain the rest of the story. That's one part why we need the video. And the other part is that we have a subtitle system coming in. So people also that are not used to go into the opera, don't know the story, can follow up and learn about the real story behind AIDA. So I think my personal highlight is the scene with the priests when they come in with all the fire. And when they walk, depending on the position of the projector, you have the hot air going between the projector and the wall, and you get a really immersive feeling of the facade is burning. That's my absolute favorite part of this show.
I think bringing an opera to a place like this, to a big arena, is a big challenge, because originally this opera was written acoustically, without amplification. It was an acoustic event and it's for opera houses. And now we are trying to put this event in a big room, in a big arena. And this is really a challenge because we have to amplify everything. We have to use loudspeakers, a hell of microphones. We have to compensate all these problems we have with delay times. We need a lot of monitor systems, and this is a big challenge. My name is Werner Schmidl, and I'm the responsible head of audio or front of house engineer for the opera AIDA. My console is for the soloists and for the choir, and some special effects we are using, and Carsten's console is then for the orchestra.
My name is Carsten Kümmel. Since so many years I'm a sound engineer. I'm specialized on orchestral production, so not only classical as well crossovers in live sound. And here in that production, the AIDA, I'm responsible for the orchestra, so mixing the orchestra. What is my job is to transport emotions. And this is a little bit different than when I do symphonic music or Hans Zimmer or things like that. Because an opera tells a story. So you have to know the story, what you have to transmit, and then you have to adapt that. When are the words really important that I must not cover them with the orchestra? But as well, there are moments you can use the huge dynamic what an orchestra really has. The magic is the dynamic. We have our moments where we might, I never measured it actually, but where we touch the 100 dB SPL. But as well, we do have the moments where we are quiet, like 45, 50 dB SPL, something like that. So that as in an opera house, when somebody is coughing, it's really disturbing in the whole audience. But the nice thing is that you really, by doing it quiet, you really get the people on the edge of the chair, concentrated, getting into the music. And that's the challenge, to do that in such an unnatural environment for an opera. But it works. And that's amazing.
My absolutely highlight is the end of the show, because it's the most beautiful end of an opera I know.
Actually, there are many goosebump moments in that production, but for me personally, it is just before the end. It is the duet between AIDA and Radames when they are together in the cave, about to die. Verdi slows down the whole music. He makes it little, really quiet. And then, especially in an arena, when you have here like 8,000 people and they are all getting quiet, that's the moment where the magic happens. And that's, for me, that's really heartbreaking.
the idea was always to produce an opera that we can also bring to other countries. And this year, we decided to stick to Germany, because going abroad is a different ballgame, especially if you have a product that you need to explain first, which we did now. So we have first reactions from the German audiences. And the idea is to continue doing AIDA in the next years to come. And obviously, if you do a production of this kind, the initial investment is gigantic. So we also want to play it more often. And obviously, AIDA is something that's been played in the entire world. But I haven't heard of any opera that is as immersive as our opera. So I think this is definitely something that we can show in the rest of the world, and that's the aim. We want to play this opera in Sydney, we want to play it in Abu Dhabi, and we want to play it in New York as well. Let's see what happens.